In a sprawling city filled with towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, life moved at a relentless pace. Amidst this chaos lived Raj, a quiet man in his late 30s who worked as a janitor. His days were spent sweeping floors, mopping corridors, and emptying trash bins in an upscale office building that housed some of the wealthiest people in the country. Despite the monotony of his job, Raj carried himself with dignity. He had dreams once, big ones, but life's hardships had worn him down over time. Still, he never complained. Instead, he found solace in small acts of kindness, believing they could make even the darkest corners of the world a little brighter. On one particularly cold evening, Raj was finishing up his nightly rounds on the topmost floor of the building. It was always eerily quiet here after hours, with only the hum of fluorescent lights breaking the silence. As he pushed his mop across the polished marble floor, a faint sound caught his attention. At first it was barely audible, a soft whimper, but it grew louder as Raj followed its source. Following the noise, he approached one of the private elevators reserved for VIPs. These elevators were rarely used outside of business hours, so finding anything amiss inside felt unusual. With a deep breath, Raj pressed the button to open the elevator doors. What he saw made his heart sink. Inside, slumped against the wall, was a young boy, no older than 10. His wheelchair lay overturned beside him, and his face was pale with fear. The child's trembling hands clutched the edge of his jacket tightly, and tears streamed down his cheeks. Raj immediately recognized the boy. It was Arjun, the disabled son of Meera Devi, one of the richest women in the city. Her name was synonymous with power and influence, but also with a reputation for being cold and distant. Without wasting a second, Raj stepped into the elevator and knelt beside Arjun. "Don't worry, I'm here," he said gently, his voice calm and reassuring. Carefully, he helped the boy sit upright and then lifted him back into his wheelchair. Arjun's breathing steadied as Raj adjusted the chair and secured its brakes. "Are you hurt?" Raj asked softly, inspecting the boy for any injuries. Arjun shook his head, though his wide eyes still reflected lingering panic. Before Raj could ask what had happened, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed through the hallway. Moments later, Meera Devi appeared, her sharp features etched with worry. She was dressed impeccably as always, but tonight her usual composure was shattered. Seeing her son safe brought visible relief to her face, though she quickly masked, with her characteristic stoicism. Her gaze shifted between Arjun and Raj, narrowing slightly as if trying to piece together the scene before her. "What happened?" Meera demanded, her tone clipped and authoritative. Raj stood up straight, meeting her gaze without flinching. "I heard a noise and came to check," he explained simply. "Found him like this? He seems okay, but maybe we should call a doctor, just to be sure." Meera nodded curtly, pulling out her phone to summon medical assistance. But as she glanced at Raj again, something about him struck her. There was no trace of fear or hesitation in his demeanor, only genuine concern for her son. It wasn't often that anyone treated Arjun with such warmth and patience, not even those closest to her. While waiting for the doctors to arrive, Meera couldn't help but observe Raj more closely. His clothes were simple, his hands rough from years of manual labor, yet there was an air of quiet strength about him. Most people would have avoided getting involved, especially given her intimidating presence, but Raj hadn't hesitated. He'd acted purely out of instinct, driven by compassion rather than obligation. When the medics finally arrived, they confirmed that Arjun was physically unharmed, though shaken by the ordeal. Satisfied but still visibly rattled, Meera turned to Raj once more. "Thank you," she said stiffly, her words carrying a weight unfamiliar to her. Raj merely nodded, offering a small smile. "Just doing my job, ma'am," he replied humbly. But Meera knew better. This wasn't part of his job description. This was something far rarer, a selfless act born out of pure goodwill. For reasons she couldn't quite articulate, she decided to take note of the janitor's name, Raj Kumar. Little did either of them know, this encounter would set off a chain of events neither could have anticipated. As Raj returned to his duties, That night he thought little of the incident beyond hoping Arjun would recover quickly. To him, it was simply another day of helping someone in need. But Mira, unable to shake off the image of Raj's kindness, began noticing him more frequently during her late-night visits to the office. Each sighting reinforced her growing curiosity about the man who had saved her son, and perhaps unknowingly, touched her own guarded heart. The city continued to buzz around them, oblivious to the ripple effect caused by a single moment of humanity. Yet within the confines of that gleaming skyscraper, two lives had already begun to intertwine in ways neither Raj nor Mira could have imagined. And while the future remained uncertain, one thing was clear. Sometimes, fate has a way of bringing together the most unlikely souls. The days following the incident in the elevator passed quietly for Raj. He returned to his routine of cleaning offices and emptying trash bins, treating the event as just another part of his job. But Mira Devi couldn't let it go so easily. That night had left an indelible mark on her, a rare moment when someone's actions reminded her of the goodness humanity was capable of. For years, she had built walls around herself, shielding her emotions from the world. Her wealth and success had come at a cost: trust. She trusted no one, not her business partners, not her employees, and certainly not strangers. Yet there was something about Raj that made her question those walls. Over the next few weeks, Mira started noticing him more often. It wasn't intentional at first. Their paths simply crossed because of her late-night work habits. Whenever she visited the office after hours, Raj was always there, diligently doing his job. He moved quietly, almost invisibly, yet his presence seemed calming. One evening, curiosity got the better of her and she decided to strike up a conversation. "Good evening," Mira said as she walked past him while he was mopping the hallway. Raj stopped mid-motion, looking up with mild surprise. "Good evening, ma'am," he replied politely, his tone respectful but neutral. "I wanted to thank you again for helping Arjun," she continued, her voice softer than usual. Raj nodded, setting the mop aside. "It was nothing, ma'am, just glad I could help." Mira hesitated for a moment before asking, "Do you always go out of your way to assist others like that?" Raj chuckled lightly, scratching the back of his neck. "I don't think much about it, honestly. If I see someone in trouble, I try to lend a hand. Doesn't matter who they are or where they come from." His answer caught Mira off guard. In her world, people were motivated by gain, money, power, status. Rarely did anyone act without expecting something in return. But Raj's words carried a sincerity that was hard to ignore. She found herself wanting to know more about him. "What do you do outside of work?" she asked, surprising even herself with the question. Raj raised an eyebrow slightly, unsure if this was some sort of test. "Not much, really," he admitted. "Sometimes I read books or take walks. Keeps my mind busy." "And what kind of books do you read?" Mira pressed, genuinely intrigued now. "All sorts," Raj replied. "History, science, philosophy, anything that helps me understand how the world works. Used to dream of studying medicine once, but life didn't let me finish school." The admission hung in the air between them. Mira studied him carefully, seeing beyond the uniform and rough hands. There was intelligence in his eyes, a spark of ambition dimmed by circumstances. She realized then that Raj wasn't just a janitor. He was a man with dreams and depth, qualities she admired, but rarely encountered. As these brief exchanges became more frequent, Mira began learning bits and pieces about Raj's life. He told her about growing up in a small village, losing his parents at a young age, and moving to the city to support himself. Despite the hardships, he remained optimistic, believing that every challenge was an opportunity to grow stronger. His resilience struck a chord with Mira, whose own struggles had hardened her instead of softening her heart. One evening, as they talked near the window overlooking the city skyline, Raj mentioned Arjun again. "He's a bright kid," Raj said with a smile. "Smart and curious. Reminds me of myself when I was younger." Mira stiffened slightly at the mention of her son. Arjun was both her greatest joy and deepest vulnerability. Raising a child with special needs had been isolating, forcing her to navigate a world ill-equipped to accommodate them. Most people avoided discussing Arjun altogether, either out of discomfort or pity. But Raj spoke about him naturally, without judgment or hesitation. "He likes puzzles," Raj added. "We've been working on a few together during my breaks, helps keep his mind sharp." "You spend time with him?" Mira asked, her tone tinged with disbelief. Raj shrugged modestly. "Just a little. He enjoys it, and so do I. Besides, he's good company." For the first time in years, Mira felt a pang of envy. Not jealousy, but admiration. Raj connected with Arjun in ways she never could. Where she saw limitations, Raj saw possibilities. Where she feared failure, Raj embraced effort. Watching them together stirred emotions she thought she'd buried long ago. Hope, pride, and even gratitude. Determined to repay Raj's kindness, Mira invited him to dinner one evening. It was an impulsive decision, one that shocked her, staff, and likely Raj himself. When she extended the invitation, he looked taken aback but accepted graciously. "Thank you, ma'am," he said. "I'd be honored." That night, Raj arrived at Mira's mansion dressed in his best clothes, a neatly ironed shirt and trousers borrowed from a friend. The grandeur of the estate intimidated him, but he hid it well, greeting Mira with a warm smile. Inside, the dining table gleamed under crystal chandeliers, laden with exquisite dishes prepared by a private chef. Despite the opulence, the atmosphere felt surprisingly intimate. As they ate, Mira opened up in ways she hadn't expected. She spoke about her childhood, her rise to power, and the sacrifices she'd made along the way. She confessed her fears about Arjun's future, her guilt over not being able to protect him from the world's cruelties. Raj listened attentively, offering thoughtful responses that revealed a wisdom far beyond his station. "You're a great mother," Raj said at one point, his voice earnest. "Arjun is lucky to have you." Mira blinked, startled by the compliment. No one had ever called her a great mother before. Tears welled up in her eyes, though she quickly brushed them away. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice trembling. "That means a lot." By the end of the evening, the gap between them seemed narrower. They weren't just employer and employee anymore. They were two people sharing stories, laughter, and vulnerabilities. For the first time in years, Mira felt understood. However, not everyone approved of this budding friendship. Word spread quickly among Mira's inner circle about her unusual closeness to a janitor. Whispers filled boardrooms and social gatherings, questioning her judgment. Some accused her of being reckless, while others speculated about Raj's motives. Was he using her? Manipulating her? The gossip reached Mira's ears, planting seeds of doubt. Late one night, as she sat alone in her study, she replayed the criticisms in her mind. Was she being naive? Could Raj truly be as selfless as he appeared? The questions gnawed at her, threatening to undo the fragile trust she'd begun to build. Yet, whenever she thought of his kindness toward Arjun, his humility, and his unwavering integrity, the doubts faded. Mira knew then that she had a choice to make. She could listen to the whispers of cynicism, or follow the quiet voice of her heart. And deep down, she already knew which path she wanted to take. Little did she realize, this decision would set the stage for changes neither she nor Raj could foresee. Their lives were intertwined now, bound by moments of compassion and courage. What lay ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Their journey was only beginning. As weeks turned into months, Raj's presence in Mira Devi's life became a constant, though still unexpected, source of warmth and stability. What started as occasional conversations during late-night encounters at the office evolved into something deeper, a genuine friendship built on mutual respect and shared moments. Mira found herself looking forward to Raj's visits, not just because of how he interacted with Arjun, but also because of the way he made her feel. For the first time in years, she wasn't just Mira Devi, the business tycoon. With Raj, she was simply Mira, a person with hopes, fears, and dreams. Raj, too, began to see beyond the polished facade of wealth that surrounded Mira. He realized that beneath the sharp suits and commanding demeanor lay a woman burdened by responsibilities and haunted by loneliness. Despite their vastly different worlds, they connected on a human level, finding comfort in each other's company. Their bond grew stronger with every passing day, rooted in honesty and kindness. Arjun became the bridge between them, the heart of their growing relationship. Raj visited the mansion regularly now, often spending hours playing games or solving puzzles with the boy. To Arjun, Raj wasn't just a helper, he was a friend, a mentor, and someone who treated him like any other child, playful, patient, and full of encouragement. Under Raj's guidance, Arjun flourished. Tasks that once seemed impossible for him, like holding a pencil correctly or taking small steps with crutches, became achievable milestones. His confidence soared, and his laughter filled the halls of the mansion more frequently than ever. Before Mira watched these transformations with awe, she had hired countless therapists and specialists over the years, yet none had managed to connect with Arjun the way Raj did. Where others saw limitations, Raj saw potential. He believed in Arjun, and that belief ignited a spark within the boy that no amount of money or expertise could have achieved. One afternoon, while watching Raj teach Arjun how to play chess, Mira felt an overwhelming surge of gratitude. "You're amazing with him," she said softly, joining them at the table. Raj looked up, surprised by her sudden compliment. "It's nothing special," he replied modestly. "He's smart. All I do is give him a little push." "A little push can make all the difference," Mira countered, her voice thick with emotion. She paused, searching for the right words. "Thank you, Raj, for everything. You've changed our lives in ways I never thought possible." Raj smiled, brushing off the praise as always. "I'm just glad I can help," he said, but deep down, he knew what Mira meant. He understood the weight of her words because he had seen firsthand how much effort it took for her to open up, to trust again. And in doing so, she had given him something invaluable, a sense of purpose. Their friendship didn't go unnoticed. The staff at the mansion whispered among themselves about the janitor who had somehow earned the favor of their formidable mistress. Some admired his humility and dedication, while others dismissed him as lucky or opportunistic. Outside the mansion, while rumors spread even faster, business associates raised eyebrows when they learned that Mira Devi, known for her icy demeanor, was allowing a lowly janitor into her inner circle. Critics questioned her judgment, suggesting ulterior motives on Raj's part. The gossip reached its peak one evening during a charity gala hosted by Mira. As she mingled with guests, dressed in an elegant sari and exuding confidence, a colleague cornered her near the bar. "Careful, Mira," the man said, his tone laced with thinly veiled condescension. "People are talking. They say this janitor of yours might be taking advantage of your generosity." Mira froze, her glass of champagne halfway to her lips. For a moment, anger flared within her. How dare anyone question her decisions? But then she remembered Raj, the sincerity in his eyes, the unwavering kindness he showed toward Arjun, the quiet strength he carried despite his circumstances. There was no malice in him, only goodness. "Let them talk," she replied coolly, meeting the man's gaze head-on. "I trust Raj completely. If you have a problem with that, perhaps you should examine why you're so quick to judge someone, based on their background." Her response silenced the critic, leaving him red-faced and embarrassed. From that day forward, Mira stopped caring about what others thought. She stood firmly by Raj, refusing to let anyone tarnish the bond they had formed. Her decision sent a clear message. She valued character over status, integrity over wealth. Despite the challenges, Raj remained humble throughout it all. He never sought recognition or reward for his actions, nor did he allow the attention to change him. Instead, he focused on what mattered most, helping Arjun and supporting Mira. Their trio became inseparable, sharing laughter, meals, and quiet moments of reflection. Evenings spent in the mansion's garden became a cherished ritual, where they discussed everything from books to dreams to the mysteries of the universe. During one such evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Arjun turned to Raj with a mischievous grin. "Uncle, will you teach me how to ride a bike someday?" he asked, his eyes shining with excitement. Raj chuckled, ruffling the boy's hair affectionately. "Of course, champ. We'll start slow, maybe with a tricycle first. But yes, one day you'll ride a bike like everyone else." Mira observed the exchange silently, her heart swelling with pride. She realized then that Raj wasn't just helping Arjun physically. He was teaching him to dream bigger, to believe in himself. In doing so, he was also inspiring her to dream again. "I used to want to travel the world," Mira confessed suddenly, surprising both Raj and herself. "Before life got complicated. Before I became consumed by work and responsibilities." "You should still go," Raj encouraged gently. "It's never too late to chase your dreams." Mira smiled, touched by his optimism. Perhaps he was right. Maybe it was time to reclaim pieces of herself she had long abandoned. With Raj by her side, she felt brave enough to try. As their friendship deepened, so did the impact Raj had on their lives. He brought a sense of calm and authenticity to their home, filling it with warmth and laughter. Slowly but surely, Mira began loosening her rigid control over everything around her. She allowed herself to trust, to feel, to hope again. And through it all, Raj remained steadfast, a beacon of light in a world often clouded by cynicism. Yet, even as their bond grew stronger, neither of them could foresee the storm brewing on the horizon. Life had a way of testing relationships, pushing them to their limits. When the storm finally hit, it would force them to confront not only external threats but also their own vulnerabilities. But for now, they cherished the peace and joy they had found in each other's company, unaware of the trials that awaited them. In the quiet moments they shared, amidst laughter and heartfelt conversations, Raj, Mira, and Arjun created memories that would endure far beyond the challenges ahead. Together, they proved that true connections transcended social barriers, forging bonds that were unbreakable, even in the face of adversity. Life in Mira Devi's mansion had settled into a rhythm that felt almost normal. Raj's visits had become a staple of their routine, bringing laughter and warmth to the once stoic household. Arjun thrived under his guidance, while Mira found solace in the friendship they shared. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of peace, a fragile happiness that seemed too good to last. And as fate would have it, it wasn't meant to. One chilly evening, as Raj sat with Arjun in the mansion's living room, teaching him how to use crutches for short distances, an eerie silence fell over the house. At first, neither of them noticed anything unusual. The soft hum of the air conditioner and the occasional rustle of leaves outside were the only sounds breaking the calm, but then came the faintest click, a sound so subtle it might have gone unnoticed if Raj hadn't been paying attention. His instincts kicked in immediately. Years of navigating life's hardships had taught him to trust his gut, and right now, it was screaming danger. He glanced at Arjun, who was concentrating hard on balancing himself with the crutches. "Let's take a break, champ," Raj said casually, standing up and placing a reassuring hand on the boy's shoulder. "Why don't we go somewhere quieter?" Arjun nodded, unaware of the tension in Raj's voice. Together, they moved toward door, the panic room located near the study, a precaution Mira had installed years ago but rarely used. As they reached the hidden door, Raj heard footsteps echoing down the hallway. Heavy, deliberate steps that didn't belong to any of the staff. His heart raced as he ushered Arjun inside and locked the door behind them. "What's happening?" "Uncle?" Arjun whispered, his wide eyes reflecting fear. Raj forced a smile, though his mind was racing. "Nothing to worry about, buddy. Just stay quiet and let me handle this." Outside the panic room, chaos erupted. A group of masked intruders stormed into the mansion, their intentions clear. They were after Arjun. News of Mira Devi's wealth and influence had made her family a target before. But tonight, the stakes were higher. These men weren't burglars looking for valuables. They were hired by one of Mira's rivals, hoping to kidnap Arjun and use him as leverage against her. The guards stationed around the property scrambled to respond. But the intruders were well prepared. Alarms blared throughout the mansion, shattering the night's tranquility. Gunshots rang out, followed by shouts and the sound of furniture being overturned. Amidst the commotion, Raj stayed focused, shielding Arjun from harm. Meanwhile, Mira received an urgent call from her head of security while attending a business meeting downtown. "Ma'am, there's been a breach at the mansion," the man reported, his voice tense. "We're dealing with multiple intruders. Your son—" Mira's blood ran cold. She didn't wait for the rest of the sentence. Grabbing her car keys, she sped back home, her mind consumed by fear for Arjun's safety. When she arrived, the scene was chaotic. Police cars lined the driveway, their flashing lights casting red and blue shadows across the estate. Guards exchanged fire with the intruders who were retreating toward the main gate. Ignoring the danger, Miora rushed inside, her heels clicking against the marble floors. Her heart pounded as she called out for Arjun, her voice cracking with desperation. Finally, she reached the study where she found Raj waiting anxiously outside the panic room. Relief washed over her when she saw him unharmed, but her focus quickly shifted to her son. "Arjun!" she cried, throwing open the panic room door. The boy stumbled into her arms, trembling but safe. Tears streamed down Mira's face as she held him tightly, murmuring words of reassurance. Only then did she notice the cuts and bruises on Raj's arms and face. "You're hurt," she said, her voice trembling. "It's nothing," Raj replied, brushing off her concern. "I'm just glad Arjun's okay." But Mira couldn't dismiss what she saw. Raj had risked his life to protect her son, standing between him and danger without hesitation. In that moment, she realized the depth of his loyalty and the enormity of her gratitude. The police eventually subdued the intruders, arresting them on charges of attempted kidnapping and trespassing. As investigators combed through the mansion, collecting evidence and questioning witnesses, Mira stood beside Raj, refusing to leave his side. Word spread quickly about the incident, and soon, headlines declared Raj a hero. Social media buzzed, with praise for the janitor who had saved the life of one of the city's most prominent figures. Yet amidst the accolades, doubts lingered among some circles. Critics whispered that Raj's actions were calculated, a ploy to gain favor with Mira Devi. Others accused her of exaggerating the story to boost her public image, but Mira silenced them all with a single statement during a press conference held days later. "Raj Kumar is not just a janitor," she declared, her voice firm and unwavering. "He is a man of unparalleled courage and integrity. Without him, my son would not be here today. Anyone who questions his motives does not know him, and clearly does not understand the meaning of selflessness." Her words carried weight, silencing the skeptics and earning widespread admiration. For the first time, people began to see beyond the titles and labels, recognizing the humanity and acts of kindness and bravery. In the aftermath of the attack, Mira made a decision that shocked everyone, including Raj. She offered him a position within her company, not as a janitor but as a trusted advisor. It was unprecedented, a move that defied societal norms and expectations. Yet Mira knew it was the right thing to do. Raj had proven himself time and again, demonstrating qualities far more valuable than degrees or credentials. At first, Raj hesitated. "Ma'am, I appreciate the offer, but I'm not sure I'm qualified," he said, his humility shining through. "I've never worked in an office like this before. You don't need qualifications to lead with your heart," Mira countered. "That's something you already excel at. Besides, I want you to finish what you started, your dream of studying medicine. I'll fund your education personally." Raj was speechless. The idea of pursuing his long-lost dream felt surreal, almost impossible. Yet, seeing the determination in Mira's eyes, he realized she genuinely believed in him. Slowly, he nodded, accepting her offer with tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he said softly, "for everything." As Raj embarked on this new chapter of his life, the bond between him, Mira, and Arjun grew even stronger. They emerged from the storm not broken but fortified, their connection tested and proven unshakable. Together, they vowed to turn their shared trauma into a force for good, dedicating themselves to helping others facing similar struggles. Little did they know, their journey was far from over. Challenges lay ahead, demanding courage, resilience, and faith. But armed with love and trust, they faced the future with hope, knowing they could overcome anything, as long as they stood together. Years passed, and the lives of Raj, Mira, and Arjun transformed in ways none of them could have predicted. What began as a chance encounter in an elevator blossomed into a bond that transcended social barriers, proving that true connections were built on trust, kindness, and shared experiences. As they navigated their new roles in each other's lives, they also found purpose beyond themselves, creating ripples of change that touched countless others. Raj's journey was nothing short of extraordinary. With Mira's support, he enrolled in a prestigious medical school, balancing his studies with his duties as her advisor. It wasn't easy, juggling textbooks, exams, and late-night strategy meetings, but Raj approached every challenge with the same determination that had defined his life. His classmates often marveled at how seamlessly he adapted to the academic environment despite his unconventional background. Yet what set him apart wasn't just his intelligence, it was his empathy. Having faced hardship himself, Raj understood the struggles of vulnerable communities better than anyone else. He became not only a top student but also a voice for those who couldn't speak for themselves. When Raj graduated as Dr. Rajkumar, the entire city celebrated his achievement. The once humble janitor now stood proudly in a white coat, ready to heal both bodies and spirits. His first assignment? Working closely with children with disabilities, including Arjun. This decision brought immense joy to Mira, who watched with pride as her son continued to thrive under Raj's care. Arjun, now a teenager, no longer shied away from challenges. He walked confidently with crutches, participated actively in school activities, and even dreamed of becoming a scientist like his uncle Raj. Mira, too, underwent a profound transformation. Guided by Raj's unwavering optimism, she rediscovered parts of herself she thought were lost forever. She traveled the world, fulfilling a dream she'd buried beneath years of relentless work. In Paris, she strolled along the Seine, marveling at the city's beauty. In Kyoto, she meditated in serene gardens, finding peace within herself. These journeys weren't just about escaping her responsibilities. They were about reconnecting with her humanity. When she returned home, she carried a renewed sense of purpose, determined to use her wealth and influence for good. Together, Mira and Raj founded a foundation dedicated to supporting families with disabled children. Named after Arjun, the organization provided resources, education, and emotional support to parents navigating similar challenges. They organized workshops, hosted awareness campaigns, and even lobbied for policy changes to make public spaces more accessible. The foundation quickly gained national recognition, inspiring others to join their cause. For the first time, Mira felt she was truly making a difference, not just in business, but in people's lives. Arjun, meanwhile, blossomed into a confident, young man with dreams bigger than anyone had imagined. Under Raj's mentorship, he developed a passion for science, particularly robotics. He spent hours tinkering with gadgets in the mansion's workshop, designing devices to assist people with mobility issues. One of his inventions, a lightweight, motorized wheelchair controlled by hand gestures, earned him accolades at a national innovation fair. When reporters asked about his inspiration, Arjun simply smiled and said, "My uncle taught me that nothing is impossible if you believe in yourself." The trio's achievements didn't go unnoticed. Their story became a beacon of hope, featured in newspapers, magazines, and television shows. People admired not just their individual accomplishments, but the way they supported one another through thick and thin. Raj's humility, Mira's resilience, and Arjun's courage inspired millions, reminding them that greatness often stems from unlikely beginnings. Yet, their journey wasn't without its bittersweet moments. As Raj grew busier with his medical, career, and advocacy work, and Mira expanded her philanthropic efforts, they cherished the quiet times they spent together even more. Whether it was sharing meals in the garden or reminiscing about old memories, these moments grounded them, anchoring them to the bond they had forged during their darkest days. One evening, as they sat together under the stars, Mira turned to Raj with tears in her eyes. "Do you ever wonder where we'd be if that night in the elevator hadn't happened?" she asked softly. Raj smiled, gazing at the twinkling sky. "I think fate has a funny way of bringing people together when they need each other most," he replied. "Maybe we were always meant to cross paths to help each other become who we are today." Mira nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. She glanced at Arjun, who was sketching designs for his latest invention nearby. "And look at us now," she said. "We've created something beautiful out of chaos." Their legacy extended far beyond their personal successes. Through their foundation, they reached thousands of families, offering hope and practical solutions to those struggling with disabilities. Schools adopted inclusive practices, businesses implemented accessibility measures, and communities embraced diversity with open arms. Raj often joked that their work felt like planting seeds. The fruits wouldn't appear overnight, but the impact would endure for generations. As the years rolled on, Arjun followed in Raj's footsteps, pursuing higher education in engineering. He dreamed of revolutionizing assistive technology, ensuring no child ever felt limited by their circumstances. And Mira, now retired from active business, devoted herself entirely to philanthropy, mentoring young entrepreneurs striving to create positive change. Through it all, Raj remained the steady force holding them together. Though he wore a doctor's coat instead of a janitor's uniform, his essence remained unchanged. He still carried a mop in spirit, believing that cleaning up someone's mess, whether literal or metaphorical, was the greatest act of service. On the anniversary of the night that changed their lives, they gathered in the mansion's garden, surrounded by loved ones and friends. As fireworks lit up the sky, Mira raised a toast. "To Raj," she said, her voice filled with emotion, "who taught us that heroes don't wear capes, they carry mops. To Arjun, whose strength reminds us that limitations exist only in our minds. And to all of us, for proving that love and trust can conquer anything." The crowd erupted in applause, but Raj simply smiled, raising his glass humbly. "To family," he added quietly, his eyes shining with unshed tears. "Because that's what we've become." In that moment, amidst laughter, cheers, and heartfelt embraces, they knew their journey was far from over. Life would continue to throw challenges their way, but they faced the future unafraid. Together, they had proven that compassion, resilience, and unity could transform even the darkest storms into radiant sunrises. And as long as they stood side by side, there was nothing they couldn't achieve.